When you see me, say you gotta say what's up. You wanna be on my roster, but it's all good. We be living, learning, and we turn it up. Work up to your desk, turn it up. When I holler miss, hey, let me turn up. Read it every day to get that scores up. On the way to success, it ain't no love. Thomas K, so it's up, then it's up.
All right, guys, so we got to talk about what, in my opinion, is the civil rights issue of our time. Yes, this is a civil rights issue, which is the education of our children, okay? It's a huge problem. It's a big problem. It is a crisis that we're not talking about enough in our country, okay? We have kids that are graduating high school not knowing how to do basic math, not knowing how to read, not knowing how to write, not knowing anything about the country that they live in, but yet they're being told to go vote, right? They need to vote, okay? Again, this is a big problem that we're not talking about, we're not addressing. And we got to talk about it. We have to bring more attention to this issue because our schools across the country are failing. They're failing so much that you have teachers now sounding the alarm on just how bad it is in the classroom in regards to our students and their learning. And I want to talk about that. And I want to go ahead and play this news clip here from Project Baltimore. That is a new report exposing just how bad the Baltimore City school system is, despite a record amount of funding.
The latest round of state test results raises alarm in Baltimore City, and we're getting a detailed look into how bad it is.
Project Baltimore's Chris Papps found 40% of city high schools where the state exam was given did not have a single student score proficient in math.
Jason Rodriguez.
This is educational homicide.
Is with people empowered by the struggle.
There is no excuse.
In 2021,
enough is enough.
The Baltimore-based nonprofit held rallies calling on Baltimore City Schools CEO Dr. Sonia Santelises to resign over low test scores, falling graduation rates, and a lack of transparency. Now, after seeing what Project Baltimore just discovered, Rodriguez is renewing those calls.
We have a system that's just running rogue, and it starts at the top.
Rodriguez is reacting to these new 2023 state test scores, which have not yet been released to the public. Fox 45 obtained them through a source in Baltimore City Schools. The unredacted state test results at every school in the city. And what we found is hard to believe. Students took the test in the spring of 2023. Just a few months ago, we found 13 city high schools where not one student who took the state math test scored proficient. Not one student. These are the 13 schools, which include some of the city's most well-known high schools like Patterson, Frederick Douglass, and Reginald F. Lewis. In total, students at 33 high schools took the state math exam last spring. In our analysis, we are not including Eager Street Academy because it's located inside the Baltimore City Detention Center. Of the 32 high schools remaining, if 13 had 0 students test proficient, that means 40% of all Baltimore City high schools could not produce a single student who's doing math at grade level. But that's not the only alarming finding we made. In these 13 high schools, more than 1,700 students took the test, and nearly 1,300, or 74.5%, scored a 1 out of 4, the lowest level, meaning those students are not even close to being proficient. And keep in mind, last school year, Baltimore City Schools received $1.6 billion from taxpayers, the most ever. The district also received an additional $799 million from the federal government in COVID relief funding. Yet still, not a single student at 13 city high schools.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Absolute disaster in Baltimore, okay? I mean, we're talking about mostly black people here, black kids, okay? Complete, total disaster. Okay, kids can't read, can't write, can't do math in a lot of schools. Okay, and it doesn't really make sense. And it's not just the news reporters that are sounding the alarm on this issue. You also have teachers that have took to the internet to also talk about how kids are in class and they don't know anything, and they also can't read or write or do math at grade level. It really is a crisis.
No, y'all, can we talk about it? Can we please talk about it? Let's take a moment to discuss. Let's take a moment to debrief. Let's take a moment to unpack. So I'm not really understanding why they're not telling y'all. Like, we all know that the world is behind, like, you know, globally, like, you know, because of the pandemic and stuff. But I don't understand why they're not stressing to y'all how bad it is. Like, I'm not even trying to be funny, but these kids are... I'm going to just say this. I teach 7th grade. They are still performing on the 4th grade level. I don't care how you flip it, turn it, swing it, swindle it. They still performing on the 4th grade level. Ain't nobody talking about how they just keep moving, passing them on. They just keep passing them on, 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 passing them on. I can put as many zeros in this grade book as I want to. They're going to move that child to the 8th grade next year. Ain't nobody talking about that. Why they not talking about that? Why they not telling y'all that y'all... And why don't y'all know that y'all kids not performing on their grade level? Why y'all don't know this? Why y'all don't know? Talk about it. Let's unpack. Because y'all be quick to talk about, oh, the teacher this, the teacher this, the teacher. It's your job, baby. I just got here 30 days ago. She was performing on the 4th grade level since 4th grade. Why we not talk? Well, let's talk about it. You the teacher. You supposed to be, again, she's been on the 4th grade level since the 4th grade. We in 7th grade now. So you let this child go 3 years and you never knew that your child was still in the 4th grade, ain't never left the... Hang it up, flat screen. And 4th graders being nice. I still have kids performing on grade K, 1, 2, and 3rd grade levels. I could probably count on one hand how many kids are actually performing on their grade level. So just imagine, you don't know that your child been on the 2nd grade level since the 2nd grade and they now in the 7th or 8th grade? Are you joking right now? And these are future leaders, our future doctors, our future nurses, our future... Please, please.
It would benefit you to watch his entire video because he breaks it down about how, like, and that's the kids that are doing well. Because I also teach 7th grade, and we have kids that have math grade level equivalents of 1st and 2nd grade, 3rd grade, many at 4th grade, very few at grade level, very few, if any, in some classes. These kids can't read, they can't decode, they have no vocabulary, no background knowledge. I've never seen anything like it. For context, for 8 years, I taught a self-contained program for significant language-based learning disabilities. Like, it was the most restrictive environment. It was the step before being sent to a specialized school. And my 5th graders with significant language-based learning disabilities could write better than non-disabled 7th graders can now. They can't write a sentence. They don't know what state they live in. They don't know what region of the country they're in. They have no background knowledge. Most of them don't know who the president is. You know, they're coming to school with no background knowledge. They have very low skills. And yes, part of my job is to help them find those skills. And as a special education teacher, like, I'm obviously going to be working with students who require specialized instruction, but I'm not talking about specifically my students. I'm talking about students in the grade, period. And this was the case last year. They can't take notes. They can't even attend to a video. They can't even attend to a 3-minute video clip. I can play it. I can tell them what it's going to be about. I can summarize what the video did, and not a single one can tell me what the video was about. Directions written on the board, stated by the classroom teacher, restated by me. All right, who can tell me what we just said? Crickets. They have no listening skills, no reading skills, no writing skills, and no math skills. And like this creator said, I've had them for 30 days. Not even, this is week 4.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. Okay, school is just starting, and you have teachers and the news media sounding the alarm on the fact that kids are just dumb. Okay, kids don't know anything, right? They can't read, write, do math at grade level. Okay, they are far, far, far behind. And this is why we have to address this issue in this country, okay? It's already bad enough that the Democrats during the pandemic essentially shut down schools, forced distance learning, which set a lot of kids behind. And now that kids are back in school, they're even more behind than they were before the pandemic even happened, because let's not get it twisted. This was a problem even before the pandemic. It's just not the pandemic's fault. The pandemic just made it worse. And again, this is why school choice, or the fight for school choice, really is the civil rights issue of our time, okay? It's the civil rights issue of our time. We should have schools that are competing amongst each other for funds, which would incentivize schools to actually perform well, or to have their kids perform well so that they continue to receive funding and stay open. But with the public school system, it doesn't really matter in regards to how a school performs. There's no consequences, right? The people that are running it, the bloated bureaucracy, they continue to get rich. Again, Baltimore City Schools. Look at how much funding they're getting versus the results. The results are disastrous, but you know what? They continue to get more and more and more funding, which again is the exact opposite of what the left-wing woke revolutionaries love to tell us about the problem with our education system. Well, you just need to throw more money at the problem, okay? You're not funding schools enough. And it's like, no. Everywhere we look, we are funding schools. We're spending more money on schools than we ever have before, and we're not getting the results that these kids should be getting. So again, we have to reform the system. Again, this is why I am on board with demolishing the Department of Education and putting a lot of those resources and money into school choice programs. Okay, we have to radically reform our education system in this country because it is failing kids and students. It really is. We have kids that are learning more about LGBTQ. Okay, they're learning more about the woke agenda. They can tell you more about celebrities and social media and TikTok and all this other stuff. They know much more about that stuff than they do about what they're actually at school to learn. It really is a damn shame, but we cannot forget that parents also take responsibility, because education starts in the household. It starts with the parents first reading to their kids, trying to challenge their kids, making sure their kids are learning. They're learning, English, the language, whatever, at an extremely young age. It starts there. But a lot of parents aren't really doing their job in making sure that their child is learning early, or making sure that they're learning when they go to school. They don't care if their child's a dummy, right? They don't care. They see the schools as a daycare, okay? Schools are nothing but a daycare to a lot of these parents. They send them to school. All right, well, I got rid of them. I don't have to deal with it. And don't care about the results. Don't care that the kid can't read, write, or do math. Don't even think to ask the kid, hey, did you do your homework? Right? Do you want to sit down and read a book? Okay, let's do some math problems. Let's see if you're actually learning. Again, it's a big problem. I really do think that the Republican Party, the GOP, in 2024, we have to push school choice to the front of the platform, okay? I'm all for fighting the culture war, right? And some of these issues that we talk about a lot in this country. I'm all for taking down the Democrats and corruption, but the foundation of this country is our kids and education, making sure our kids are actually educated and smart and are driving this country towards a better future, okay? I mean, when we're talking about competing on an international stage, long-term, 50, 60, 70 years from now, education is the key, okay? In the United States, we're raising dummies. In China and in the rest of the world, these students are outperforming our students. And that's just not going to be good for us in the long term. That's a problem when it comes to competing on the world stage. It is a serious issue, and Republican candidates need to do a better job of talking about the failure of these schools in these liberal cities and pushing school choice, right? We have to put the school choice / homeschooling agenda to the forefront of the Republican platform. I mean, to be quite honest, that's what we should be talking about the most, right? I mean, we should be talking about this issue the most because it is the issue that affects the future of our country the most, okay? I mean, I think that, again, we live in a time where, again, the mainstream liberal media wants to talk about book bans, okay? They want to talk about not teaching slavery. They make up a whole bunch of crazy stuff about what Republicans are, you know, pushing in regards to the school agenda, but they don't talk about the fact that these liberal city schools are failing. And Republicans have to do a better job of directing that conversation into that direction. We have a lot of opportunities to do so because, again, the left-wing liberal media, they want to talk about what's going on in schools. They just don't want to talk about kids not actually learning what they're supposed to learn in schools. They want to talk about why kids can't learn what they're not supposed to be learning in schools. So we need to redirect that conversation back in the direction that is beneficial and let them know that, hey, this is not okay. Our kids are dummies, right? They don't know anything. And that is a huge problem for the future of this country. And more teachers need to sound the alarm on this because this is a big, huge problem. And I think that our education system in this country needs to be radically reformed in order to fix it. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.